Chapter 1. When a gambler's trying to outrun a losing streak, he sometimes forgets the rules. That night, Chauncey Drake misplaced two of them. He was playing poker under a blood moon, always unlucky for him, and he'd stubbed his toe on a dead man. In more prosperous times, he'd have sat out the unlucky night in his hotel room with a bottle and a couple of whores who were a credit to their profession. But these were not thriving days for Chauncey Drake, and he suspected that harder times were coming down. "The game," Peter J. Grapple said, "is poker." The eyes peering over the top of the banker's glasses nudged Drake gently. A man doesn't push a known and named gunfighter too much. "I'm studying on it," Drake said, staring at his cards. "It's not difficult, Mr. Drake," Grapple said. "I raised you 10. "Man's got the right to take his time," Ed Winslow said. "But not all night," Grapple said. Winslow nodded. "No, not all night. Truer words were never spoken." Drake studied his cards. Aces and eights, a dead man's hand. Nothing about the damned night boded well. Grapples wasn't pushing him hard, and Drake understood why. But what the banker didn't know was that Drake's blue colt currently reposed in Cy Goldberg's Pawn and Mercantile on 2nd Street, tagged, bagged, and pigeonholed. In return for the revolver, Drake had received from Cy's own hand, as befitted a regular customer, a ticket and $10. The $10 now sat in front of him, and there wasn't another thin dime in his poke. Ed Winslow's eyes moved to the saloon window. "Blackest night I've seen in a spell," he said. He cocked his head, listening into the darkness. "Coyotes are hunting close." "There's blood on the moon," Grapple said. "Unlucky for some," Winslow said. "Maybe for you, Mr. Drake," Grapple said, smiling. "Or me." The banker's smile faded, and he sighed. "The game is poker," he said for a second time. Drake made up his mind. He pushed his 10 into the pot. "I call." He spread his cards. "Got me a dead man." "Too little and way too late," Grapple said. He tossed his hand onto the table. 3 ladies. "Unlucky for some," Winslow said. Grapples gathered up the deck. "Shall I deal?" Drake shook his head. "I'm done." He rose to his feet, a slim man of medium height, dressed in patched and faded gambler's finery. "Another time, perhaps?" Grapple said. Drake nodded. "Yes, another time." He walked to the door and stepped outside. The blood moon was rising, but for the moment it had spiked itself on a pine at the edge of town. The night gathered close, and along 1st Street, kerosene lamps glowed red in the darkness and smoked like the cinders of fallen stars. Drake found a ragged cigar stub in the pocket of his frock coat, then took a seat in one of the rockers scattered along the saloon porch. Across the street, outside the marshal's office, the dead man was propped up in a pine coffin, illuminated by the railroad lantern on the boardwalk in front of him. The man's face was as blue as marble. His eye sockets pooled in shadow, and he showed his teeth in a death grimace. The reason for the grotesque display was that when Marshal Dub Halloran killed a man in the line of duty, justice had to be seen by the whole town to be done. The dead man was a small-time thief and all-around nuisance by the name of Bates or Baxter. Nobody knew for sure. He'd stolen a side of bacon from a farmer's smokehouse, and Halloran had tracked the man to a box canyon north of the farm. Bates, or Baxter, had promptly surrendered, but for convenience sake, the marshal had gunned him where he stood